1989, until I tell you that if I show you the table, you'll realize that some countries on this continent, I'm not going to name them because that was not my objective, are still at 6% of civil registration, meaning only 6% of their population are registered somewhere as existing. Egypt is number one because they started an innovation, which we just started before COVID, opening Home Affairs offices in hospitals and clinics where birth is taking place, so that when mothers go home with their bundles of joy, they're already carrying a birth certificate. Egypt started before us, that's why they are so advanced. We started just before COVID, and it delayed us. It delayed us to put those Home Affairs offices all around. Out of the 4,000 health facilities that exist in the country, 1,440 is where birth is taking place, that they are delivering babies. And we will be happy when we wake up one day and find that all 1,440 of them have got a Home Affairs office. If you visit some of them, the Home Affairs office is not just found somewhere within the hospital yard. It's actually directly opposite the labor ward, so that when the mother is carrying a baby out, he's faced with letters there, Home Affairs offices, please take your birth certificate. Now today, we are here in Menlyn to do what we promised in the budget speech, open one of the Home Affairs offices that are going to be in our malls. We will be taking you around in a few moments. Those who did not see, who are going to see the office, but we are also doing something today as part of increasing our platform. We're unveiling a fleet of 20 new mobile offices which will serve communities that are in far-flung areas. I was still mentioning rural provinces, and the Premier came here to lobby for the townships, and we have had that Premier. That even in the townships, I thought maybe it's only rural areas. Ladies and gentlemen, these mobile trucks is actually Home Affairs on wheels, where we take Home Affairs on wheels to go exactly where you are. And today, outside there are 17 of these trucks, because the other 3 are only arriving tonight. But as I'm standing here, we've ordered an extra 100. All these years, Home Affairs has been having 100 trucks all over the country. So today we are having 120. But by the end of the year, we'll be having an extra 100. Means we'll have increased them by 120%. As I continue with the speech, you'll understand the significance of having so many mobile trucks or Home Affairs on wheels. Our ambition at all times is to find innovative solutions. And we are happy that the Pareto group, led by Dr. Malusekekana, has actually embraced this working together here at Menlyn Mall. We are here today because we wanted to pilot and make sure that the system works very well. And once you are convinced that it works very well, we move over to Cresta Mall in Johannesburg, in Tatekekana. And we are happy that it's also owned by the Pareto Group. At the same time, we'll be making preparations to move into the Pavilion Mall in eThekwini, and also making preparations to move into Tiger Valley Mall in Cape Town. All those are malls in which we'll be doing what we are doing here today. And I'm extremely also excited, Tatekekana, that we're able to conclude this partnership on extremely beneficial mutual terms. I don't know whether it's a secret clause or whether it can be said publicly because I'm proud of it. If it's secret, you'll forgive me thereafter. The Pareto Group has waived rental payment for 5 years. We'll be staying here free. We don't pay a cent because Home Affairs will bring foot traffic that will benefit the tenants of this mall. And we are benefiting from this space which you'll see today, which you are enjoying. I am told that Menlyn Mall has more than 400 shops and 8,000 parking bays. This means that people coming to this mall to apply for Home Affairs services can do so while they are shopping in some retailers around here. If you were to visit our office in Harrison Street in Johannesburg, you'll come back rage, in a rage, as many people have done. It's supposed to be serving the center of Johannesburg. But even me, when I visit there, I struggle to get parking. What more about our clients? And we are hoping once we open Cresta Mall, we'll have to take a decision whether we still need that office that is so problematic in the center of Johannesburg. In this office you are going to see today, there is unconstrained space if you compare with other Home Affairs offices. We are going to install, or rather we have already installed, as you are going to see, 10 service desks where applications are processed. Perhaps when I say 10 service desks, you may not understand the significance. One of our biggest offices here, which is in the center of Pretoria, the Byron Place, corner of Nana Sita and Sophie de Brain Street, has got only 6 areas where people need to be served. There's got only 6 service points or counters. In Acacia Mall, 5. In Mamelodi, which serves a huge population, there are only 3. In Centurion, which is also a very popular office, there are only 3. So when you put 10, it means you have doubled or trebled what we have got in other Home Affairs offices. The office is also going to use 2 technologies to connect to our database. There is a fiber link and mobile connectivity through LTE. These complementary technologies will assure that we are able to finalize applications faster. Perhaps many of you might not understand why I mention things like this. You'll say, look, these are technical issues. Why is the minister troubling us with them? It is because the optics, when you visit Home Affairs offices, are not very good. The long queues, and while you are queuing there, the systems are down. The systems which you acquire from CETA are down, and they call it system downtime. Every time I'm in Parliament, members of Parliament ask me about this because it's troublesome and it's embarrassing. And people get angry. Ordinary people say, there you go, Home Affairs computers are not working. And they once asked me, why don't you just repair your computers, Minister? What's wrong with you? I've been there from 6 o'clock in the morning, I queued for 4 hours. Then they tell me, your computers are not working. Why don't you just repair them or buy new computers? You are very inefficient. This is not about computers. It's web systems that are causing us trouble. Now, came a new baby on the block, load shedding. Now, many people who have got money solve load shedding by buying generators and putting up
Solar.
Solar panels on the roofs and all that. In Home Affairs, that doesn't help. Actually, half of our offices have got generators. But believe you me, generator or no generator, when there's load shedding, we can't work, even with the generator on, simply because our systems in what you call live capture depend on the cell phone networks. And you are aware when there is load shedding in a particular area, the network towers are down. In the same way as you find it difficult to phone, we also find it difficult to send information because it doesn't matter which part of the country are you in which Home Affairs office are you in the live capture system, your information must be relayed to Pretoria in real time in our back rooms here so that we process and send it to government printing works to print your passport or your ID. Now, if you are in an office where things are down, we're just down and folding our arms. And this has been very, very, very disturbing. And that's why we are putting things like the fiber link, which will improve. It doesn't mean we are no longer going to have system downtime because CETA will still have to improve their systems as they are doing at the present moment. I visited the office you are going to see on Friday, and I met Mr. Andrew Janse van Rensberg, who came with his wife and child. They came to apply for a passport for the child and the wife. And he arrived with a green barcoded ID. The official assisting him asked him to immediately apply for a smart ID card. And he did so, and he got it. But when I greeted him, he said, look, the people here are very friendly. They smile all the time. They've been very helpful, but they are inefficient. That was very painful to hear. He regarded it as inefficiency. And I knew exactly what he's talking about. Because while he's sitting on the counter, being served, the systems are down. And he has to sit and wait. And he's going to be served after 30 minutes or so. One person in 30 minutes. Or there's load shedding. And so we told him that we are aware of those and we are trying to put solutions. The service here, while we are officially opening today, has been serving people for the whole month because we have to test. We have to test all these theories I'm telling you about, whether they are practical or whether they are workable. So we have been encouraging people to come and get service here. So from the beginning of February, 953 people have already been served here, including the gentleman and the family I've just spoken about. And 478 out of these 953 were applying for smart cards, taking away their green barcoded ID. And some of these applications that were made, we shall be receiving them today. But there is something again that troubles me that I saw here on Friday, and I hope it's not going to be the pattern. I found a big box of passports that were still to be collected. We have already printed them because we have promised, and we are keeping that promise. And I'm stating it again openly. When you apply for a passport from a Home Affairs office, you'll get it between 5 days and 13 days maximum. If we go beyond 13 days, we have failed you. But we can also produce a passport in 24 hours under certain conditions. But please don't wait for last minute and say, no, the minister told me 24 hours is correct. We are going to charge you an arm and a leg to do that, because we have got all the time. I get people visiting and say, Minister, can I get an emergency passport, please? Somebody has just died in Botswana, and I must be there this afternoon, emergency passport. Let me take this opportunity to tell you, there is nothing called an emergency passport. It does not exist. I don't know why people just discovered it or invented it. There's nothing called an emergency passport. What usually people refer as an emergency passport is actually not a passport. It's an emergency travel document which you can't use to leave the country, which is only available to people who are stranded overseas. If you are in the center of London, maybe they mark you. I understand there's also marking here, even though the whole of Europe want to pretend that marking only happens in South Africa. We get phoned by people that have been marked and my passport has been stolen and I need to come back home. That's where an emergency travel document comes in. You go to the South African embassy, they write you an emergency travel document, you take it and get into the plane. When you leave the plane at OR Tambo International Airport, that is the end of that document. It no longer has any work whatsoever. It has come to an end. So I want you to get it. Please, don't wait for what you call an emergency passport to leave the country because it doesn't exist. I'm emphasizing this for people who travel a lot. Just make sure, you get phoned late at night by somebody acquainted to you. Minister, I'm here in the queue to board a plane at OR Tambo. I've just discovered that my purpose expired. Can you instruct your people to get me through? No, that has happened by people I'm very acquainted to. Please, Minister, I have got to undertake this trip. Can your people open for me to allow me to go through? And I said, look, passports are controlled by ICAO, International Civil Aviation Authority, and they want what is called a machine-readable passport. If I allow you by some magic, because it will be magic to convince the airline to take you with an expired passport, I said, if they allow you by magic to get into that plane, when you arrive in London or wherever, they are going to arrest you. They don't know the Minister of Home Affairs in South Africa there. They don't know anything about favors. They will arrest you. So I tell them, no, Minister, then what should I do? I say, go back home. That's the only thing you can do. How? What? Go back home, rush to Home Affairs office tomorrow, apply for a passport. We'll try our best to give it to you in 24 hours. Then you can only undertake your trip. Many people don't understand these things. They think we are funny. So we encourage you, those of you who like traveling, do apply on time. Here is a mall open for you. Because others will say, no, man, Minister, I couldn't apply. I realized sometimes back that my passport is about to expire. But this long queues in Home Affairs, Minister, I was just reluctant to go. Don't be reluctant to come here. More so, this office here is working on another system which we call BABS. BABS means Branch Appointment Booking System. All our live capture offices can do BABS, but you can only book for a passport and a smart ID, not any other service. Passport and a smart ID. And when you have booked via BABS, you come at the time you are going to be served. You don't come at 6 o'clock to be served at 10 o'clock. They give you time and say, please arrive in our offices at 11 a.m. And we expect to serve you within 15 minutes on the BABS system. If we fail to serve you within 15 minutes, It might be because there's load shedding or system downtime. But our standard in BABs, and we suspect people have already seen the value of BABs. Because even in small towns like Bambristad in the Northern Cape, they've already started using this system and 15 appointments already made. In the neighboring Free State, 3,055 people made bookings just in the Welcome office since we started BABs, and 2,905 of them turned up for those appointments, and we are very proud of that. And I can go on giving you a lot of statistics about the number of people who book in our systems and actually take those bookings seriously. And we serve them within that 15 minutes. In areas, because then people ask us, Minister, this booking, it needs computers. What about those of us who don't have tablets? When you go to this office now, in a short while when we go, you are going to find that we have got an area where we have got tablets. If you haven't booked and you want to make a booking, we'll book for you. We have ordered these gadgets for all our live capture offices all over the country so that people can walk in there and we make a booking for you. Now, if you make that booking, you save time and money because you don't have to stand in a queue. But you also help us to deal with one malady we've been trying to deal with and not getting very successful. There are people, unfortunately, most of them are homeless, who wake up at 4 o'clock, go to a home affairs office and start queuing there. They don't need any ID or anything. They are just queuing. And when you arrive and you are in a hurry, they sell you that space and say, stand here, and you pay them money and they opt out because they never needed any services. We are really encouraging our people never to use such a service. Don't pay for a service which is free. But unfortunately, people tell us they are frustrated, they have to pay. Now here, even if you can get 100 people coming at 4 o'clock in the morning, anyway, the mall won't be open at that time. But whatever early they come, you are not going to need their services. You won't. Even if they cheat you, they won't be able to, because you won't need their service, because you come exactly at the time that you are needed and you'll be served. You don't need anybody to come and queue for you. Since we started BABs in December 2021, right up to the 23rd of February this year, people who have used this system are 748,898, which means 750,000 people have already used this system, and they found it very useful. Now, as I've already said, we are taking home affairs to people via these mobiles. And I was very happy last year because in August and September, I decided not to report in my office. I was reporting in the villages where these mobiles are because I wanted to see exactly how they work, where are the problems, where are the weaknesses. I didn't want to hear from officials. I wanted to see it firsthand. And I was happy when we took those mobiles there because